Hi, and thank you for watching our presentation. We're going to explore several key aspects of digital security and how they relate to preschool all the way to 12th grade. We're going to look at a few guiding questions to frame our understanding of digital safety in schools. We'll discuss some major challenges students face that directly impact their privacy, safety, and well-being online. We'll highlight some opportunities that come from addressing these challenges, and we'll also share some strategies that educators and schools can use to help prevent or reduce these risks for our students.
Any discussion of digital security must first begin with the obvious. The world has become increasingly virtual. In P-12 education, teaching and learning now rely heavily on technology. Student records, assignments, attendance, and communication are largely documented online, and because of this well of digital information, the need for strong digital security has never been more urgent. According to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, cybersecurity is the ability to protect or defend the use of cyberspace from cyber attacks. In a P-12 context, digital security refers to the practices and protections that keep student data and school devices like Chromebooks safe from unauthorized access. The question then arises, why does ensuring digital security really matter? Three major reasons help explain its importance. First, as previously mentioned, schools store vast swaths of sensitive information online. This includes information legally protected from widespread dissemination by HIPAA and FERPA. Therefore, keeping this information safe is essential for upholding the law, maintaining the privacy of students, and preserving trust within the community. Second, modern teaching and learning depend heavily on technology. Most students use laptops and online platforms daily. Teachers rely on digital tools to deliver their lessons and effectively run their classrooms, and administrators use online systems for essential school operations. The more that schools rely on technology, the more opportunities there are for cyber criminals to exploit digital security weaknesses. And third, cyber attacks can cause real damage. Aside from the illegality and injustice of being hacked, cyber attacks can harm student learning by interrupting instruction and shutting down the online systems students use to learn. This means that digital security is not optional. It is fundamental to student success. National data confirm just how widespread these risks have become. The Center for Internet Security analyzed over 5,000 K-12 schools between July of 2023 and December of 2024, and in their 2025 cybersecurity report, they detailed the following. 82% of schools surveyed reported measurable impacts from cyber threats. There were over 9,000 confirmed cybersecurity incidents, including ransomware, unauthorized access, and data breaches. Additionally, there were more than 1,400 security events observed. These numbers show that cyber incidents are not isolated. They're widespread, and schools are being highly targeted. This data helps us understand just how important it is for schools to prioritize cybersecurity. To put these statistics into perspective, let's look at a recent real-world example. The Los Angeles Unified School District experienced a major cyber attack in 2022. This upcoming ABC7 news clip details the event.
So a warning about big hacking threat against the LAUSD district. Hackers are threatening to release certain data by Monday if certain demands are not met. And Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is live in the newsroom with all the details. Tim?
David, the LA Unified School District is dealing with another threat as they try to bounce back from that ransomware attack Labor Day weekend. School leaders say the criminals are planning to release the district's sensitive information online.
The nation's second largest school district up against the clock tonight, cyber criminals threatening the release of private information. School leaders say the LA Unified School District is working with investigators and law enforcement to determine what information has been exposed and who is most impacted. The district was weakened earlier this month when a ransomware attack shut down the school's computer systems. No immediate demand for money was made, and school opened as scheduled. Right now, the district launching an independent information technology task force to examine previous attacks and how to keep them from happening. So far, LAUSD says instruction and operations for students remain uninterrupted, and it does not believe employee health information and payroll have been impacted. But that's not necessarily the case for district contractors and vendors. Those groups rely on getting paid from a system that is still compromised. In a statement, the district says, quote, "We are working to make sure payment for your services is not further interrupted. We appreciate your patience and understanding during this time. To our school community and partners, we will update you when we have relevant information and notify you if your personal information is impacted."
The district says it will release a 90-day report on what enhancements will be needed to improve cybersecurity. They have a toll-free hotline on its website to address any questions or
This attack caused LAUSD, one of the largest school districts in the country, to temporarily lose computer access, and it exposed the private information of members of its school community. This example illustrates the true stakes of cybersecurity failures. When a school system is attacked, instructional tools can be lost, private data can be exposed, and the trust of families and staff can be shaken. It also shows that large districts with substantial funding are still vulnerable, which means that smaller, underfunded districts are often at even greater risk. This incident also demonstrates a crucial point. Digital security cannot fall on one person or one department. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency clearly states that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility, and we each have a part to play. In schools, this means that everyone has a role. Students, teachers, support staff, administrators, and IT teams must play their parts to ensure strong cybersecurity. Later in this presentation, we will present 5 key strategies that expound upon how school communities can collaborate to protect against online threats. To help guide the rest of our presentation, we want to leave you with 2 central questions. First, what are the biggest risks to students, teachers, and schools when digital security is weak? And second, what responsibilities do each of us, students, teachers, administrators, and technology teams, share in creating secure digital environments? Please allow these questions to guide your thinking as we examine the real challenges schools face and the practical solutions that can help keep our digital spaces safe.
2 specific challenges with digital security include online privacy risks and data tracking of students, and also cyberbullying and social engineering targeting students. One of the biggest digital security challenges for students today is the amount of data being collected about them, often without them even realizing it. School devices, educational apps, and websites track things like browsing history, login information, learning progress, and even their location. This becomes a problem when companies don't properly protect that data or when they share it with third parties. A real example of this was the Edmodo breach in 2017. Edmodo was a really common platform used by teachers and students. When it was hacked, data from more than 77 million accounts, including students' usernames, emails, and passwords, ended up for sale on the dark web. This shows how vulnerable student information can be and how important it is for schools and families to understand what data is being collected and how it's protected. For students, these breaches can have long-term impacts because this kind of information can follow them for years. A second challenge is cyberbullying and social engineering, which target students directly. Cyberbullying is not just hurtful, it also becomes a security issue because students may be pressured into sharing private information, clicking harmful links, or revealing their location. Students are still learning how to navigate the digital world, so they're more likely to trust messages or requests that seem friendly but are actually manipulative. A good example of this is when Snapchat introduced its Snap Map feature. Many students didn't realize it was automatically sharing their real-time location with others. This created safety concerns because peers or even strangers could see exactly where a student was, sometimes down to the house or school. Situations like this show why digital literacy and awareness are so important. Students need to understand how their information can be used and how to protect themselves online.
Two digital security opportunities. Improved digital literacy and empowered users. Stronger digital security opens the door for teaching students and educators how to navigate online spaces safely. This builds confidence, responsibility, and better decision-making. Research shows that digital citizenship or media literacy curricula significantly reduce negative online behaviors such as cyberbullying, misinformation, and irresponsible online conduct. Increased innovation in security tools and classroom technology. Growing digital security needs encourage companies and schools to adopt more advanced and creative technologies, which in turn improve learning, management, and communication. A 2025 case study of e-learning platforms showed that implementing cybersecurity measures improves satisfaction and educational outcomes for students and educators, which suggests that secure tools both protect users and support better learning. Improved digital literacy and empowered users. What this opportunity means. Enhanced digital security encourages schools and organizations to promote digital literacy. Individuals learn how to recognize phishing, scams, unsafe websites, and privacy threats. Users become active protectors of their own data instead of passive victims. Why this matters. Today's learners constantly interact with devices, apps, and online tools. Increased knowledge reduces the chances of identity theft, data loss, or cyberbullying. Empowered users create a safer digital environment for everyone. Real-world examples. Schools implement digital safety modules in ISTE-aligned lessons. Students learn password creation, safe browsing, recognizing suspicious links, and reporting threats. This leads to long-term healthy digital habits and better academic productivity. Increased innovation in security tools and classroom technology. What this opportunity means. Demand for stronger security leads to new tools such as encrypted apps, secure learning platforms, improved firewalls, and multi-factor authentication. Schools and organizations benefit from safer digital learning environments. Why this matters. Innovations protect student data, teacher materials, and school operations. Better tools make online collaboration safer, especially with cloud-based platforms. Advanced security technologies reduce downtime caused by attacks or breaches. Real-world examples. Districts adopting secure cloud platforms such as Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 now use built-in threat detection. AI-powered security systems automatically flag suspicious activity. Teachers and coaches can use digital tools such as emails, apps, and storage without as much risk.
I will be sharing 5 real-world digital security strategies designed to protect K-12 students. As educators, we work in a classroom where Chromebooks, iPads, and online platforms are part of daily learning. Digital security is not optional, it's essential. Let's look at 5 strategies that help keep our students safe online. Strategy 1 is teaching strong password habits. Younger students might share passwords because they believe it's helpful. Older students often reuse the same password everywhere. Schools using Common Sense Education's Password Power-Up program help students create safe, age-appropriate passwords. Strategy 2 is protecting devices and accounts. In Dothan City schools, students must log out of Chromebooks, protect their usernames and passwords, and follow district-wide technology use expectations. The district uses internet filtering similar to Safe Search and follows Alabama's cybersecurity requirements, which includes multi-factor authentications. Together, these layers help create safer digital environments for all teachers, staff, and students. Strategy 3. Students need to recognize online threats, suspicious pop-ups, fake download buttons, and phishing attempts. Google Be Internet Awesome program helps students spot scams using a child-friendly game called Interland. Here is a short video. Strategy number 4 is building a school-wide security culture. All city schools mark this by having a district-wide acceptable use policy that outlines safe internet practices, responsible device rules, and cyber safety expectations for all students and staff. When an entire school community follows the same guidelines, digital security becomes a shared responsibility. Strategy 5. Protecting student data is essential. Not all apps are safe, and teachers must use district-approved tools that follow laws such as Children Online Privacy Protection Act and Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. The Student Data Privacy Consortium helps schools verify which apps meet safety standards. Here is a short video explaining why protecting student data matters. It shows how schools collect and store sensitive information and why using approved app and following laws like both acts is necessary to keep students safe online.
Hello, and welcome to our training on why protect student data. My name is Juliana Cotto, and I'm a Policy Fellow for the Youth and Education Privacy at the Future of Privacy Forum. The objectives of this module is to 1. Understand potential risks to student privacy, and 2. Gain a better understanding as to why student information needs to be protected. So before we dive in, let's first discuss student privacy in the context of last spring's rapid transition to online learning. Schools, teachers, and families all over the country grappled with, for most, a very new way of learning and teaching, video conferencing. The line between school, a public space, quickly became blurred with home, a more private space. Schools had to decide, should we require students to have their camera on and therefore show parts of their home? Are we going to record these classes? And who will have access to these recordings? And ultimately, one of the major student privacy implications was that these video conferencing tools were not made with education in mind, and therefore did not initially have important protections. And that's why we saw a now common term, Zoom bombing, happening quite frequently, which ranged from mild pranks played by students to the much more severe, hurtful, and harmful display of racial slurs and pornography. So with that grounding, let's step back and discuss, why should you care about student privacy? As illustrated in the last slide, there's real potential for harm. There are federal and state laws that also require schools to uphold certain privacy protections. This will be further discussed in another module and will include links in our resource section. You could get into trouble. Students and families deserve to have their privacy protected. And children are a specific group that require special protections. Children and adolescents have developing brains, which means they're not fully able to weigh the benefits and risks. They have limited impulse control and are much more susceptible to peer pressure. Lack of experience means they're still learning social norms and also tend to be more trusting of others. There's also the potential for more acute harms because it's difficult to understand future harms, but also because these harms may not be fully realized until much later. So let's dive into some of the common privacy risks, which helps us to understand why it's so important to protect student privacy. A common privacy concern is commercialization. So are advertisers using information they've gathered to target my child? Age inappropriate content. Are children accessing websites that they shouldn't and isn't appropriate for their age? Safety. Is a stranger able to communicate with my child, learn where my child lives, or other information? Another is equity concerns. So say my child doesn't have a personal device and has to rely on a school-administered device. These school devices tend to be more monitored for safety concerns. So for example, they can send alerts when students visit certain sites or search certain terms. But kids who don't own their own devices, therefore might get in trouble for things that kids with their own devices, typically higher socioeconomic status, will not get into trouble for. Other privacy risks include social harm. So is information being shared about my child that causes others to make fun of them or adults to see them differently? Over surveillance. What is exactly being monitored when my child is on a school device? Could this lead to punishment or other repercussion? And this ties into the permanent record. So how is information collected and retained about my child in elementary school going to follow and impact my child in middle school, high school, or even beyond? Lastly, loss of opportunity. So what information was used to make decisions about my child right now, like what class they're placed in, but also decisions in the future, like could they lose out on a scholarship, an internship, or other employment opportunity based off of information collected about them? So with those privacy risks in mind, let's move into our activity. Mr. Richards takes his science class on a field trip to a local museum. The students are really excited, and Mr. Richards starts taking pictures of the students by exhibits for the school website. The teacher also posts one of the photos to his Facebook account. What risks are raised by Mr. Richards posting pictures on his social media account? Here are the risks we discussed in the module. Write down what risks are raised when these photos are posted on social media. Feel free to pause the video to take some time to fill this out. And note, there is a guide key to how we have thought about this activity provided in the resources. To end this module, we'd like you to reflect on these 3 questions. 1, write a few sentences about why student data privacy is important to you. 2, which of the risks we discussed are you most worried about for your students? And if you're a parent, for your child. 3, the risks that were raised in our activity, how do they relate to a scenario where a teacher posts a screenshot of their video class to social media? If you're left with questions on this last reflection question, be sure to check out our module on understanding and reducing risk. Thank you for joining this training.
These 5 strategies work together to build strong digital citizens, students who understand how to protect themselves and behave responsibly online. I hope these practical strategies help you create safer digital environments for your students.
As we wrap up our presentation, we want to leave you with one simple idea. Digital security is a shared responsibility. Whether you're a student, a teacher, an administrator, or part of an IT team, each of us must play a part in keeping our digital spaces safe because schools face a variety of risks like data breaches, phishing attempts, cyberbullying, and even occasional cyber attacks. Incidents such as the LAUSD attack remind us that even well-resourced schools can be affected, and that's why awareness and good digital security habits matter. But digital security isn't just about preventing problems. It's also about strengthening digital literacy, helping everyone make smarter choices online, and protecting the sensitive information students and families trust schools to handle. Real examples, like privacy concerns with SnapMap or the Edmodo data breach, show us why teaching safe online behavior and using reliable tools is so important. When we combine safer practices, good instruction, and a willingness to look out for one another, we create digital environments where students can learn confidently and safely. Thank you for your time and attention. We hope that you now possess a deeper understanding of and appreciation for cybersecurity in P-12 schools.